Hi, this is Mohammed Sheikh. Today I'll be explaining the closing case of East Coast Yachts from Chapter 1 as my case presentation. The case is over the East Coast Yachts Company, which was founded by Tom Warren in 1969. The company has several very good reviews based off the reliability and their safety of the yachts that they are creating. The company itself is in a very niche industry because not everybody is going to looking for yachts. So they have a very specific customer. Today, East Coast Yachts is currently run by Larissa, Tom's daughter. He ended up retiring and he handed over his company to his daughter. It's a growing business, and Larissa is wondering about changing the company business type to see if another type of business form business entity would be better suit the company. Tom started the business as sole proprietor and she's wondering about changing it. That is what we are facing with today. There's four main business structures used today. There's a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a limited liability company, and a corporation. A sole proprietorship is what East Coast Yachts currently operates, as there is a partnership which generally involves two people creating a business and splitting everything 50-50. There's a limited liability company which can have several owners or just one owner, and most people start an LLC to protect themselves from legal liability. There's also a corporation type entity, and that is usually formed to raise large amounts of capital. So, today we are going to decide what type of company would be best for East Coast Yachts to transfer into. There's currently a sole proprietor, so we are going to look at if should be an LLC or a corporation, which option suits the best. First, we are going to look at the sole proprietorship, which East Coast Yachts currently operates, as we are going to look at some of the advantages that this type of business has. First, it's easiest type of business to form. That's where several people do start as a sole proprietor because it's easy to form. It also has very low startup costs. There are few requirements for filing business taxes. It's also easy to change sole proprietorship to different business. So once we decide the best option, the best business entity for East Coast Yachts to operate, as will be easy for Larissa to change her business type. Uh, a big disadvantage of sole proprietor is uh, that the organizer is the boss, so they oversee all the business decisions. The disadvantages of sole proprietorship includes no liability protection, and this is probably the biggest one, in my opinion, which means that you are personally liable for all the business debts. It's difficult to get business loans and financing, so people prefer to transfer from a sole proprietor to something else. So they can obtain business loans to operate, and it is also difficult to sell a sole proprietor business. Now we are going to look at a limited liability company, and this is one of Larissa's options for changing her business type. There are advantages and disadvantages with a limited liability company as well. One of the main advantages, in my opinion, is that you are not personally reliable for debts of the company. Today, Larissa would be personally reliable for debts of East Coast yachts, like she currently is being a sole proprietor. It's also easier to obtain business loans since East Coast Yachts has been in business for a long time. This might be that may not stick out to her because she probably has a large amount of capital built up because they have been in business for a long time. But it is easier to obtain business loans if you are an LLC. You can also select your tax treatment, which is another advantage of an LLC. You could choose to be taxed as a sole proprietor, which she is currently being taxed as. She can also choose to be taxed as a corporation or partnership. So she could consult with her accountant to see the best tax treatment for her company. There's also no ownership restrictions, so if she wants to add some partners in her business or some other people to go into business with, she could do this with an LLC, and there's a flexibility of choosing the method of accounting accruals, which is usually what companies need to operate, as in, especially with corporations. Uh, they are stricter on the rules of being accrual based with being an LLC. She could have more leeway of being cash based if she wanted to, and cash based is normally easier to operate. Uh, There are disadvantages of being an LLC, and some of these disadvantages are owners recognize profits immediately. But since she is a sole proprietor now, they were already doing that, so that would not be a huge disadvantage for her, in my opinion. Uh, it's also difficult to transfer an ownership once you are established as an LLC. It's hard to transfer your ownership to somebody else. So she would have to keep that in mind if she was uh, planning to sell her business or transfer to someone else. Uh, it also costs more to maintain than a sole proprietorship because there are some filings and there are some uh, more regulations that you have to follow with LLC. So uh, we have to look at that as well. The last type of business structure that we are going to look at for the Larissa is a corporation. There are advantages and disadvantages that come with this type of business structure. In the corporation, there is legal separation. You are not personally liable for the business debts like she currently is being as a sole proprietor. Those options of when the owners receive income, so she may consult with her accountant again and decide when it will be best to distribute dividends for her personal tax treatment. Uh, some businesses create a corporation to raise large amounts of capital. So if she wants to expand her business even more, she would look at the corporation structure because you distribute stock to stockholders and they give you money in return, and that is how you raise the capital for the business. So if her goal is to grow her business further, corporation might be a good idea for that. Also, there is a simple transfer of ownership. Again, to simply transfer ownership, you would basically just sell the shares to someone else, and someone can could and someone could be a major partner. Corporation also has an unidentified lifespan. There's also some disadvantages that comes with being a corporation. That is double taxation. The corporation gets taxed on their own earnings, and then uh, when they distribute dividends to shareholders, the shareholders also get taxed on those earnings because there's tax on the dividend. So she would have to think about that. Uh, she may need want to she may want to think about what she wants to do with her business in the future, which would be her main deciding factor. There are more tax filing requirements with corporation and way more rules and laws to follow. It's expensive to operate as the accountant consultation is required for the tax structure and guideline, which are not there in case of sole proprietorship. There are some legal formalities in the structure that you must follow, so it depends on what she wants to do with her business. She will need to keep that in mind when she's deciding if she wants to be an LLC or a corporation. Now, since we have had a chance to look at both the advantages and disadvantages of being a limited liability company or being a corporation, I would recommend that East Coast Yachts convert to be an LLC type company. And I chose this for several different reasons. One of the main ones are she's legally separate from her entity now, so she's not legally liable for business debts, which is a huge one for her. Another huge benefit of an LLC is you could just choose your tax treatment. So she can choose to stay taxed as a sole proprietor. She can be taxed as a partnership now or corporation. Whatever she decides, she can add more owners if she wants to. So she has more flexibility. Uh, it's also less expensive than a corporation. There's less filing requirements, less legal formalities that she'll have to follow. So it will still be easier for her to operate, and it won't be as big of a change going from a sole proprietor to a limited liability company. But if she go for a sole proprietorship to a corporation, there would be a lot more things that she would have to follow. So my recommendation to Larissa would be to go for the limited liability company.